Hello. So I'd like to share a story about open source software. It's a true story, except I changed a couple names to protect some people. Open source, if you don't know what it is, it's when a developer releases some software, and along with the software, usually they give it away for free, they give away the source for the software, which lets people who receive it create their own copy of that software, maybe make modifications and distribute it. I've been an open source advocate for a long time. Most people know me by my online nickname, Ringmaster. Sounds kind of strange, but there are people around the world that know me only by that name. I've been pretty successful with it. Last year, I got a good contract job in Australia. They were very nice in bringing me to Australia to meet the rest of my development team while I was there. One day after work, I got a ride with my host, Michael, to meet one of my coworkers for dinner. And his name was Amar. We had a really nice dinner there. I met his nice wife. We had some homemade hummus and baba ganoush, and we talked about the really bad craft beer in Australia. After dinner, we were driving home, and Michael said to me, you know, I had this really weird experience in the kitchen with Amar. He said, in a really girly voice, I can't believe Ringmaster's in my kitchen. You know, I don't know what's going on. And it was really confusing to me because who gets excited about me being in someone's kitchen, right? So Michael said, don't you know Amar's story? I'm like, no, I really don't know Amar's story. So he started to tell me. Amar actually grew up in Iraq, and he was working and living there during the most recent start of the US military action there. And one day while he was driving home from work, an IED exploded near his car, and that resulted in a decapitated head landing on the hood of his car. Of course, like it would for anybody, it caused him to want to flee the country. So he gathered his family up and he tried to move to Syria, which he did successfully. He got a little apartment there in a really bad neighborhood, and he had an internet connection, and things were looking pretty good up until the police came and raided his apartment. They weren't looking for him. They were looking for the drug dealers that lived upstairs. He spent several hours trying to convince them that he was not a drug dealer, and eventually, after the police left, he was in a bad position. He was either going to end up being deported for being an illegal alien and end up in a war zone again, or he was going to end up being threatened by these drug dealers. So he was in a bad spot. He didn't know what to do. But let's roll back the clock 3 years. 3 years prior to that, I was sitting in a buca de beppo trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my next open source project. And we came up with this idea. We wanted to produce an open source project that was educational for developers. We wanted to teach them not only how to code, but how to document and how to work with other developers. So we came up with this project called the Habari Project. And it's just a little blog application. It's nothing special. But it actually fulfilled the goals that we wanted it to fulfill. We're helping people train. One of the things that we were able to do with Amar, he was one of our early contributors to the project. He started out really early. And he found our project looking for some way to learn how to become a web developer. He didn't know anything when he started. He came to us, we trained him, we gave him all his knowledge over 3 years. He learned PHP, and that night, after the police left, he was in our chat room, and he was talking to my friend Michael, and he said, hey, look, I never told you I was an Iraqi. I am. And I'm in this terrible predicament, and I don't know what to do. And through his connection with open source and through his relationship with our community, Michael was able to secure him a job at that Australian firm. He moved there the next week. And I find it amazing that it's through the project that I created in a stinking buca de beppo that we were able to do this for him. So this is just one of many, I think, amazing things that come out of Habari, our little project, but maybe one of the most poignant ones. And when people ask me, why do you contribute your time to these free open source projects, I don't really think of the same thing that everybody else does. I kind of think of these stories, and I think of the passion that I have for helping individuals in my community succeed and change their lives. And I hope that you all have the same passion in your work and what you do.